What I'm going to be doing is talking through the contact center discovery process. From our perspective, 30 years in the industry, very much pioneers within the call center marketplace. So tracking back to in fact it was 1988, we designed an ACD platform for a number of early customers where they wanted to use the technology, but at the time it just wasn't affordable for smaller businesses. They tended to be great big platforms in big sheds with hundreds and hundreds of call center agents. So we designed the first economically accessible ACD platform for sub 30 users. And what that enabled us to do was very much working with customers, look at the functionality that was required. So at the time, we were delivering a lot of and introducing a lot of new routing technologies that hadn't been used in the past. We supported in excess of 150 contact centres, not just across the depth and breadth of the UK, but also internationally as well. And in fact, today, we've got clients that span 21 countries worldwide. We've had experience in writing reporting systems. We wrote the reporting universe for Avaya's call center offering, which was following on from the previous presentation. And I think importantly, we've got a lot of skill when it comes to integrating software applications and business systems with phone systems and telephony architecture with our own middleware application. So I'll pick up on that later as well. Very proud to have won a lot of awards, and to me it's not just about us winning awards, it's also about our customers winning awards, and we work with customers who have won awards for their contact centres and use of technology as well. I think today what's really important is a range of different deployment methods. So we deploy this technology on-premise, in cloud, or a hybrid of the two. And that's really enabled us to start to really provide economies of scale across organisations with multiple locations. So in the previous session, there was a talk from Trailfinders about how they moved from distributed architecture and systems across 28 sites to a single platform, which was resilient, so it was replicated in an active environment, supporting the needs of over 1,000 call center agents across UK and Ireland. And their driver was to have local contacts, so they wanted localized numbers and that personal approach, but actually the benefit of having a great big call center that was networked across UK and Ireland to cope with peaks and troughs and demands. We've very much got a comprehensive portfolio, so with a lot of the partners that you see out today in the exhibition area, plus a number of others that aren't out there as well. And then on top of that, our own technology and the consultative approach that we take to really design technology solutions and development plans in line with customers. Okay, so very quickly, the contact center marketplace, it's changed. It's very much a hub for customer contact today. It's a great opportunity to support all ranges of communication. So the telephone is one, but we're also looking at email, web chats, social media interaction. So it's definitely evolved from purely telephony based to multimedia environments today. There's over 1 million people that work in the contact center industry in the UK. So it's a huge amount of people that are involved in this industry, handling over 8 billion calls a year. So a lot of interaction through that. So channel preferences. Again, looking at lots and lots of different research. Telephony is still the number one contact method through the contact center, but email has really come up, to a point where it's almost on a par as a main contact method. So what we're seeing is people are using and needing to blend these different technologies, and there's a lot of opportunity for sort of accommodating emails and phones and web chat sessions by the same people at the same time. And we start looking at how we can then mine this information. We can start looking at how people are interacting. And as I said, the world's changing. And what's really interesting is to see the increase in web chat. And again, a lot of the research that I've gone through over the last period is seeing web chat as an area that a lot of people are investing, a lot of people seeing they need to accommodate for their customers. And of course, as we follow on, elements around social media and the channel of the future, which is video. We heard earlier about WebRTC, and for me, I think there's a lot of great application for video communication, but we also need to consider that it might be a one-way video feed from the agent in the call center, and the person who's interacting with the contact center may not want to publish their video images of themselves. So the world's going to change. There's going to be lots of challenges around how that's being managed, but I think video is going to be one of those channels that we start to see increasing following the growth of social media and web chat. Okay, so changes in customer expectation, and people are looking for great service, they're looking for convenience, they're looking for personalization of service, and I think again one of the big drivers is that always on culture, the world that we live in today, that we want to be able to contact somebody in a time that suits ourselves. So we're seeing again a lot more customers that are wanting to extend services 24/7. And then when you're doing that, there's a challenge around how you resource that, how you manage it. And that starts to bring in options around, maybe home working or bringing together people from different locations to provide and accommodate resource challenges. And most definitely accommodating different media channels. So what we tend to see is people will have separate systems that manage all these different interactions. So traditional call center managing the phone system and the reporting and the telephone calls coming in. Another separate system usually for email, another one for social media and maybe for web chat. And I think the opportunity really starts to come when you can blend these technologies together. You've got a single management interface and portal to start to understand and forecast the resources that you need to accommodate these different types of channels. And a big one there is transferable experiences. If I contact an organization and I feel that actually I've had great service from that organization, the very next company, the very next contact I have, irrespective whether it's the same business, the same industry, or something completely unrelated, that is now my benchmark for customer service. So as so many organizations are focusing on customer experience and customer service, it's an area that we're going to continue to see the bar rise moving forward. Okay, again, what I've done is I've looked at, there's a whole load of research that I've done over the last few months, so happy to share the output of that, but really interesting for me to see really a number of the key factors in contact center affecting satisfaction. So first call resolution, we heard about it today. I know personally I had an experience of contacting a bank recently, and I phoned in, I explain who I am, I give the account details, I explain what I want to do. I then get told actually I can't deal with it, so I get put on hold, I get transferred to someone else, and I have to start the whole process off again. I then get transferred to the third person and start all over again. And actually, all I wanted to do was to fill a form out for a change of signatory on a bank account, and actually I didn't get any of that. I was told we'll send you the form, we'll email it to you, give us the email address, and then I had to phone up and find a bank manager and get a mobile number and deal with that a couple of days later. So that's my experience of calling a big bank, and that was not service that I would expect. So we're experiencing frustration when we're contacting organizations, and as I said to these guys, there's technology out there that helps with this. You should be able to recognize me as I call in, and when you transfer me from one person to another, you know what? You could transfer the screen. You could transfer the notes of where we got up to. I shouldn't have to go through and repeat myself. you should also be making it easy for yourselves. You should reduce the amount of time it takes you to deal with my frustration and my complaint that every single step of the interaction I'm having is just magnifying each time. So you can make it more efficient for yourself, and the agent experience can be greatly improved as well. So lots of things up there: polite people, short queue times, UK-based contact centres and agents. We're starting to see a lot more people are looking at that as well today. IVR menus, these can be the bugbear of people, poorly designed IVR menus, far too many options and messages and queues. And I think the worst thing is, if you're not understanding the customer experience and the journey people go through, you can actually end up getting completely lost, not have a route you can take, and have to start the whole process off again and call back in. So, these are things, frustrations that people are facing and looking for. I had to have this picture up. This guy has become a minor celebrity in the world of contact centres. But again, traditional reporting metrics that people are looking at within the contact centre. So customer satisfaction, first call resolution, speed to answer, call abandonment rates, average call duration, cost per call, or indeed contact. As the point is, it shouldn't purely be focused on call, shouldn't purely be focused on email. What's an interesting one is, could we calculate the cost of interaction and lifetime value with customers, and then actually relate that back to to revenue and reward. So this is where we start to look at how we can mine information and data from other systems. CRM integration is an important thing. Big data, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this as well, where we can actually start to pull information from different systems and build up a much better and accurate picture of what's going on across the organisation, customer contact, and value and cost to serve. I talk to a lot of people who are looking at how do we lower the cost to serve, how do we reduce the cost of interaction. But that's got to be balanced between the relationships that we hold with people, the service that we're delivering, and as I said, elements in the commercial world around lifetime value or indeed cost to serve. How can we optimize that process? Same thing, similar slide as earlier. There's a lot of technology out there, and we shouldn't get bogged down by the technology available. We should, day one, is focus on looking at how people are operating and trying to find some areas for improvement. And it never fails to amaze me that when I go into see contact center operations, there's always areas that can be improved, and there's a lot of people that get into a habit of how they're working, and the dialogue doesn't necessarily tend to be there. You're getting the comments that are played back to customers, which are so important to understand, to be able to listen to that experience where, sorry, I can't help you, the system's down, or I don't have that knowledge, or I need to transfer you to someone else. There's a lot of really great tech that can help you join up front office and back office and bring experts in and use chat sessions to be able to ask questions and improve the first call resolution. So there's a ton of tech available to us, but step one is actually go in, look at how people are working, understand the pains, understand the opportunity, and then we can build a program. We can test out these theories and technology, and as I said earlier, get people excited about it. What we have is a program of really discovery within the contact center marketplace. So what we do is we go in, we're looking at the different methods of contact. At the back end of this, I've got a series of typical questions that we go and ask, so I'll share those with you as well. Obviously, I'm conscious of the time constraints I've got today, unfortunately. But we're looking at how we contact, we're looking at how we understand and identify the customer. Part of this, going back to probably approaching 2 decades of principles around customer relationship management and looking at how we segment databases, we understand different customer profiles and different needs, and how can we act differently to support individual preferences, but also how can we align the resource within the organisation to deliver a better level of experience, but also a more profitable business model as well. What are the options for self-service? Because again, there are certain things that people are happy to do using self-service technologies, whether that's via web or via IVR. What's the experience of people within queues, and how do we advise them as to maybe what position they're in, or how long it's going to be before they're answered? How do we provide people? We heard, nobody likes queuing, right? So would I prefer to have an option of actually, booking in a callback, so someone would, that then goes into the system where I'm now going to get called back at a time I want to be called back at, so I don't have to sit on hold listening to that nasty hold music or the announcements. So again, there's a ton of technology that can help to make this whole experience a lot better for people. The route to the agent, how are people going to get there? How long does it take? How do we interact with people? What's the follow-up process? How do we measure? How do we monitor? How do we manage what's going on? And importantly, how do we improve? So with each of these, I've got a number of different elements. So I'll just pick up on a few as some examples. Maybe how are customers contacting us today? So is it telephone calls? Is it email? Are we able to go through and get an accurate picture of the volumes? Are there things we're being asked to support that maybe we don't? So can we provide choice? What is relevant for self-serve? How do you identify customers today? CTI technology is a great thing for that. If we can reduce 40 seconds for every single inbound call that's coming into the business, and when people call me, I've got access to their details, I know what they're calling about, I've got previous transaction history, I can deliver a much higher level of interaction to those customers. And this is something that very quickly delivers a return. Additionally, what I can then do is I can start to have the click-to-call functionality. So I can click and make calls, or I can start to use automated intelligent dialers to present contact to people. I could look at quiet times and actually look at how I can present contacts to people, so they're more efficient than not having to go out and search for people to call. They're presented people for those conversations. And also, how can I dip into the database and actually look at, well, actually this person's called before and this is the person they've spoken to. Wouldn't it be great if we could route those people through to to a member of staff who's got a really solid understanding of that customer? So we really are providing that personalised feel. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for improvement there. So how are customers contacting you today? Why are they contacting you? Again, this is an important thing. Is it is it a service issue? Is it a sale that they want to make? Is it general advice? From there, are there certain elements that you could deliver through self-service? Are there areas that you might have, as I said, high-value clients that you might want to service in a different way? When you're looking at the call flow, a lot of people have benchmarks around time to answer. 20 seconds is typically one of those things that we see as a key target. So how do we answer the calls or the contact within that time frame? And if we haven't answered it within that time frame, or we're coming close to those thresholds, what can we do to make decisions through technology to be able to accommodate that? So are we extending the call routing groups? Are we giving people options and announcements to self-serve or get calls back? What do customers think of you? This is where I find elements like call recording incredibly important, to be able to go in and audit interactions, understand what the true experience has been, so that actually we're redesigning how people are speaking to customers, what the process is. And actually, as part of the recording, it's not just the calls, it's also the screens that we can record as well. So maybe someone's having a problem with an IT application. They're struggling around process or who to go and contact, or look up menus for things. Well, actually, it's almost like having a movie where you play it back and you can hear what's going on and you can see on the screen in front of you exactly what that person is trying to do. Are they, heaven forbid, are they playing solitaire on the computer, And it's those sort of things that actually start to join up the process and give you a lot more information. I think, again, in the contact center, elements around agent appraisal or quality management are great. If you want to start looking at lifting the standards, you can build in a scoring system. You can use that as part of evaluation process with staff. You can use it for coaching. You could go and, part of it, again, is look at members of staff who are the top performers. Why not go and understand and analyse that as to what makes these people top performers and start to share it with the other members of staff. How do we create parity between the best and maybe the worst staff that we've got? So, these are, great opportunities for measurement and improvement. So customer experience, what is it? How do you define it? And again, involve different stakeholders in this. What would you like the experience to be? What products and services do you sell? What do you sell more of? I remember getting called in to see a customer a number of years ago now. The chief exec wanted a meeting with me because he told me, what, Jonathan, the call centre system you're providing to us isn't working. I said, well, that's, we've had good feedback from everyone else. I'll come in and see you. And I said, well, what's the problem with it? Well, we're losing money. Okay, so, how are you losing money? Are you losing calls? People get routed to the wrong place. Are people maybe not equipped to deal with the calls that are coming in? Well, no, we seem to be selling, these products, and we're selling more of these than the other products. Well, okay, what's the problem there? Well, we actually make, this is a loss leader, this product, and these are the ones I want people to sell. Okay, and, are you using any prompts or scripts or guides to, have you got any cross-sell or upsell techniques that you've introduced into the contact center? No. Okay, these are things you can look at with the technology. And what was really interesting for me was actually, when we really drilled into it, the key reason that people were selling the product that they were making a loss on was because that's how the pay plans were aligned. They were paying staff more money to sell a product they were making a loss on. So, by that process of actually just talking through it, we identified what the problem was and they were able to address it. And technology was able to help. Reporting, management information is key within the contact center. If we want to coach and develop staff, if we want to look at the experience, we need access to information. And, what information are supervisors getting? Are they having to go out and search for it? Are they having to ask, other people within the business to present it to them? Have they got access to what they need? If they don't, are we giving the supervisors the best chance of success? If not, what can we do? How do we make the technology accessible and available to them so they can actually manage the people in the contact centres as they're employed to do? And I think, again, resource requirements, how are the different contacts coming in, elements around workforce management, forecasting, starting to understand, where in the peak times, what staffing levels do we need, how can we address that? Are there things that we can do to shift the contacts into the organisation to try and smooth out some of those peaks and troughs? In quieter times, maybe we could undertake some proactive outbound contact and activity. And it goes on, right? So, from my perspective, there's a lot of questions, there's a lot of experience that we've got, and I'm now at a point where I kind of need, unfortunately, I need to wrap up for the next one. But what I would say is, as a business, we've got a huge amount of experience in the contact center marketplace. Yes, we know the technology inside out, and working with the partners such as Avaya and Mitel and the call recording companies. There's a lot of benefit we can bring to bear. But what I would say is the importance of actually going into the contact center, look at how people are working, look at where improvements can be made, share the experience, share what we've done with other customers, and actually, together work out a plan of improvements and effective use of technology. Hope you got a sense for how we're working with people, not just to be told what people want to buy and issue a proposal, but actually investing the time to look at how people are operating and try and make some suggestions and recommendations around how technology can drive improvement. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you for your time. And the next presentation is from Martin Byrne from Mears to hear about how they've really driven improvement within the contact centre. So thank you.